fall ball just starting. Just a couple thoughts so far early on in the process.
Excited, fun to be with the group. Finally, new group on campus, and excited to just keep on building what we've started.
Dipped into the transfer portal a good bit. Just from an offensive standpoint, what does Neville, Hurd, Casella, what do those guys provide you?
Well, time will tell, but they've had success. Those are really good players. Mason Neville is a guy that's, a really good player. Was a really good player in high school. We recruited him hard. He chose to go to Arkansas, and now he's back, which is great. We're thrilled to have him. And all the kids have things they need to improve upon, but there's a couple of kids now that you mentioned that have had some real success at the college level, and it should help.
The run you guys went on late last season, just how did that influence just guys' motivation going into the offseason and the work they put in, both the success you had in the postseason, but then also the way it ended?
Well, I think they got a taste of it, right? And when they're looking around and they're looking at our stadium, the last 3 games that they played, they're pretty excited. When that place is rocking with students the way it was and the energy, that's something that, the feeling, the games go away, but the feeling doesn't. And so I think that definitely is a motivating factor during the off-season work and them getting now into the fall camp.
Is there anything you identified as last year's character traits from a group that did go far in the postseason that you're looking for out of a group this year that can have similar success?
They like to get in the weight room and lift weights and get strong. That was one. They really backed each other, and it was fun being at the ballpark every single day with those guys. That would be 2. And then 3 for me would just be, just their desires to play as a team, even though there's a lot of individual desires as well. As we all know, all these kids want to make it to the major leagues if they can. So there's individual goals, but, they were able to put those individual goals aside and put the team first. And that was a lot of fun with that group last year.
Are there specific players that step up as leaders, whether it was last year or this year, to help that third point that you just mentioned?
We'll see. That's what you're looking for. You'd like to think that, there were 6 players drafted, and the one that showed back up to school was Isaac Aon. So he would be a great start. Him, RJ Gordon, some of those older guys. There were a lot of young kids that got a chance to be able to get a lot of experience, especially on the mound last year. And so there's a lot of leadership there. And so hopefully they can just continue to do that at the field. So far, it's been great.
Isaac and RJ, just what's their excitement, motivation, coming off their experience last year?
Well, all those guys, Isaac and RJ, Isaac's getting drafted. He didn't even play last year. And so he's a really talented kid. But when you don't play, boy, it's, can you imagine getting something that you love, the first thing that you love to do in your life, and it's taken away and you can't do it? We all kind of, as soon as that happens in your life, it puts it into perspective pretty quickly, and you start appreciating things probably more than you ever realized. And I imagine those are probably feelings without even asking those guys. They probably have felt that quite a bit. When something gets taken away from you, how much you really do appreciate it.
How have you grown as a coach from that experience last year?
Makes me hungrier. It's a process when we first got here, and it's a long process. There's a lot that goes into it. And so just to see some of the things start coming true that we were thinking we could pull off at Oregon, and now, we've been able to accomplish a lot of things in the first, it's been 4 years, but the first one was kind of quirky with that COVID situation. So, in the next 3 years, so 4 overall, we've been able to build some things, and we're just looking to continue to build the program.
How do you feel about what you've added in the pitching staff? And you return a lot there, but how do you feel about what you've added and what they're bringing to the table?
Time will tell. We're like a bullpen or 2 in, so I can't really answer that question yet. On paper and whatever, you feel really good about it, but I want to see it with my own eyes.
Health notwithstanding, because how can you project that? But what do you want to see that group address, change, improve on relative to last year, where you're not just changing some guys, you're changing a member of this. Well, changing a member of the staff. Jake got an opportunity, but what are you looking for from this pitching staff this season in terms of not just improved health, but results-wise?
Well, you're looking for all the metrics to improve, every single year in every department, every category. Every year's different. Every year's got different personnel. And so, to compare them to a team last year would probably be unfair just because it's different personnel right now. I think for the guys that are the same personnel, you can say, hey, we want these guys that are the same personnel to be able to improve their numbers and stuff like that. The new guys, they're going to be new. And so they don't really have anything to go back to say, this is what I've done in the past, so this is what I should be expected to improve upon. So time will tell. A little bit too early still yet.
have some young arms thrown into the fire last year. Kind of the benefit of that experience. How much is that going to pay off for those guys this year? You know,
Well, the plan was for it to help out a lot, right? And so when you throw those young guys out there, you're thinking, okay, this experience is probably going to be a bumpy road, full of good and some not so good, because that's what freshmen usually do, is they're inconsistent. We saw the consistency start showing up, especially late in the year with Turner Spoljaric and Grayson Grinsell. And, and so as you start seeing the consistency show up more and more, it just looks like they're becoming sophomores, which is the best part about, a freshman, is they get to be a sophomore. So they're sophomores now. And so hopefully those guys are more experienced and they've learned, and we're going to see a better version of themselves, which is great.
Speaking of the freshmen, just what was that group's reaction like? Watching them from the outside, going to be a Duck this fall, like watching you guys go so far in the postseason, and the way it ended, making them hungry to come in and even better that this year. Just what was their reaction like coming into campus after that run?
Well, it was visible to the public, and so that was the biggest thing. It blew a lot of people's minds when they were tuning into the games, and it was nationally televised. It was the feature time slots, and those games were unbelievable. They were the most exciting games that anybody saw in any college baseball events. And so last year, and PK Park the students had a lot to do with that. And so, whether it's the recruiting trail right now, talking to the younger kids, they all saw that too. And it blew their mind. So when they're going, wow, I want to play in front of a lot of fans. I want to play in front of a big time venue. That's exactly what PK Park is now. And the guys on last year's club created that. So now the new guy comes in basically into the program, and they go, whoa, okay, I need to keep that going, and I need to improve that. And so I think that there's a little bit just of a natural standard that's increased, and a natural pressure now on guys that come in new, that they all look at it and say, wow, okay, well, we see what we've come into from last season, and our job's to improve it. So whether it's pressure and opportunities up for the individual and their mindset, and we like to think that it's a great opportunity for us to improve what we developed and have developed in the last few years.
What's it been like working with Hawk so far?
Coach Hawksworth's awesome. He's his resume speaks for himself. He's a major league pitcher. He pitched for the Dodgers, pitched for the Cardinals. And right now the Dodgers just got named as the organization that's won the most games throughout their minor league system. Their player development is elite, the best in the major leagues. Hawk's a product of all of that. He pitched in the major leagues for 2 teams. He was an agent with Scott Boris's corporation. He knows that side of the game. He was also a pitching coach at Cal State Fullerton when they went to College World Series, amongst other great programs. His demeanor is unbelievable. He's really, really good. And so he's just started with these guys yet, so he's just starting to have a little bit of an impact, and probably more watching and learning more than anything else quite yet, but Hawk's really good at what he does. Everybody in the business knows it, and everybody in the business knows that he's going to do a great job at Oregon.
Last question. Fall scrimmages.
Fall scrimmages. We'll let you know when those things are happening. We're going to take a look at our personnel first and kind of go from there.